What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I just wanted to address really quickly here the chunk of characters sitting in my box that are going to soon be obliterated by the mid-October update that is coming. So I just wanted to do a quick highlight video around these characters specifically, give you guys a heads up on exactly what this means for my account, my box, the ways exactly in which I'm going to be affected by it. We're going to take a look at a couple of posts on social media and see the ways that other people are being affected by it. And we're also going to talk about a little bit of like what I've been strategizing as far as a plan for the future with these things. So first, let's go ahead and look through a couple tweets. I pulled up a couple. This is not super in-depth research here. And this is just a few of the most, like, prevalent players that I know about that have these big collections and have been vocal about it on social media, as well as just some other random players that I've managed to grab some screenshots from. So, starting here with Truth, obviously he is one of the biggest cases of, like, an example of someone that's getting really, really screwed over by this. You can see here he actually has more than I do, obviously. Makes perfect sense. So yeah, 1,026. That's a pretty hefty price coming from him. So Poimao, that top global player that's actually leaving the game from this update, definitely has more than me as well. Like, I wouldn't doubt it. And there hasn't been an actual screenshot of how many characters are being affected by it, but they did just do this in this updated like roll through of their entire box, showing off, their 30 million power level and all these link level 10 characters. Now I have about 35, I think it's exactly 3557. That's how many characters I have at link level 10. This is way more than that. 800 extra is insane, right? Now, the thing is, you can see, okay, so like right here is a perfect example. You can see both of the 8th anniversary LRs they have they have the one at LR, and then they have the TUR, the SSR, and the Unawakened SSR. Literally for both of them, right? They have this for so many summonable characters in the game, where they just like have it duped all the way down. They have this on so many more characters than I do. Look at the 7th anniversary LRs are right here doing this too. So yeah, I can see how this is just going to be a massive hindrance for a player like this. Because obviously it's going to affect me the same way for a lot of units, but not for nearly as many, especially if you consider this person has been collecting a long time, because like, look like the physical Trunks and Goten, they have a one in every slot filled out for, right, all 5 iterations right there, but then the 5th iteration is literally a duplicate of the EZA, because they've already finished everything. So it looks like this person just never ever gets rid of a unit. They probably just always keep copies when they get them. I did see in here, oh yeah, like right here, this is a perfect example. Look, he's got 4 copies of this Vegeta already at the LR level, right? And just sitting, probably because he has all the previous iterations filled out already. So it would just be a huge feels bad to have already completed these lineages and, duplicate collected on top of that, to where you already have like the complete lineage plus a bunch of extra copies of the the top form of the unit, and then now all of your lineages are just going to get thrown into the top. So yeah, it's just looking through this. I've spent some time looking through this entire thing, little by little, and just there's so many tragic cases in here that it is kind of understandable why a player that's grinded this hard would just decide to leave after this. But I'm showing this off to basically give you guys the idea that even though we haven't seen the number, I am willing to assume that they have a higher number of reverse characters than I do. Because while it looks like they have collected a 1 in every slot for all the free-to-play units in the game, they have also on top of that collected TURs and SSRs of a lot more summonable units than I have. So I would be willing to assume that that number is much higher than the 773 for them. But yeah, can't actually prove it, haven't gotten like a screenshot or anything, but we are definitely throwing them in there as an honorable mention. Probably 2nd place. I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if this person had a higher number than Truth. Okay, so the only other number that I've been able to find anywhere on the internet, granted, like I said, didn't look that hard, is Lotad here. So this is a big world tournament grinder, but obviously a major collector in the game as well. So yeah, 782, just barely edging me out here. When the update first got announced, I did show off my list here, and I was at 800 exactly. Since I actually did one thing since then, I went through my Dokkan Awaken list here, and I double checked the values in every slot here. So if there was any characters that had a duplicate, I made sure to put them where they belonged, right? Like, for instance, like, okay, let's say this physical Chaozu, when I finished link leveling the SSR, I forgot to reverse him from, because he would have been link leveled in the TUR state, and then maybe I forgot to reverse him, so then this was just sitting at 2 at the TUR state, and then nothing in the SSR slot, right? And then just the one down here. So there were a lot of units like that in here that I went and, made sure to reverse them to have the exact correct list of units. And then the other thing that I did was I went through the reverse tag itself, and I actually took out a bunch of units that I ended up reversing again. Actually, let's just do it like this. This was a perfect example. So this was one thing that was pushing it up over the 800 mark, was I had all these guys were actually reversed down here to the SSR level, or to the TUR level, so they weren't actually awakened. And now I'm actually just now noticing this right now, that not all of them are easy aid, some of them are. I'm gonna have to rectify this eventually in the future, but that's a really costly thing, because you have to spend a lot of incredible gems on those. That actually makes sense, because I was using these as link level leaders, and when I started using them as link level leaders, they weren't yet easy aid, and I realized the 70% buff wasn't going to be enough, and I needed the 120. So these were probably all the ones I already had at link level 10 by the time I started easy aiding them. So I just have to go back and retroactively do those ones, but now I know, I guess. But yeah, so I got those out of there. So basically, the 773 that we see in there now is the real number. This is the real actual number of any characters, that are going to be, like, essentially removed. Like, this artwork, this character slot will be removed. Anytime I had duplicates of a character, I went ahead and made sure that they were all reversed. For instance, this guy, we'll get back to talking about him in a little bit. But yeah, so I went ahead and reversed every single character down. So like I had multiple copies of him at the awakened state and at the unawakened state. So I just made sure to put them all at the unawakened state, so that they can be included in the masses of what's moving up here, right? Just because then we're going to have, the point here is we're going to have 0 at the lower level once all of these move up. Or once they move up, we'll be able to see, if any of them didn't go, and vice versa. Obviously, I know they're all going to for this unit, but just for example's sake. Okay, so I'm getting sidetracked talking about my box. Let's get back to the internet portion of things real quick. So yeah, Lotad looks like they have just a couple more units than I do. Oh, that's what I was saying about the fact that I readjusted, so I'm no longer at 800, and now I'm at 773, which is that final number. So it looks like they're just edging me out by a little bit here, which is, in this case, not a good thing. Okay, and then we have Amber here, who is got like 600. This is another heavy collector and someone that grinds hard in the world tournament. But yeah, so 600 there, that's really, really tough. Definitely really tough. But I think the numbers just kind of go down from here. Yeah, so this player's got a solid 600. This player I found that has, like a 400 something, 600 something here, right? 400 something. But I haven't really been able to find screenshots of any players that have anything crazy, right? Like, I guess let's go on the power level leaderboard real quick. Because, we do have the top players here, like, yeah, I haven't seen anything from Nagi or Runo or Sakura Fire. I've scoured all the stuff that they post on, mainly on Twitter for these two, but Nagi also has a YouTube channel. I didn't really look in, like I said, didn't look too hard to see if I could find anything, but there was nothing on the surface of it, showing off, like, their deficit from this update. So I'm not really sure. I actually don't even know about Friendwen. Actually, I would be willing to bet you're watching this video. If you want to comment and let me know, what your number looks like, I'm very curious. But yeah, I'm not even sure about some of these, like, lower power level grinders here. So I guess it's possible that some people would be more heavily affected by this. It also is possible that there are some, like, major collectors out there that don't bother with power level grinding, right? Because those are technically two separate things. Not everyone that collects a 1 in every slot for the characters and just wants to, like, quote unquote fill out their Pokédex has to link level them, right? Some of those players don't bother doing that because and is just like a massive grind and incredibly not worth it for a lot of people, right? So if there are other just collectors out there that aren't like, you know, heavy grinding members of this community and stuff, then I probably just wouldn't have heard of them. It's possible that you know, that information wouldn't have got around to me. So it's definitely possible that there are some other straggler players out there that have just a massive crap ton of units, and let me know how many units you have that are going to be, you know, swapped over from your account personally. I'm curious to see where my viewers sit with this. But basically, I say all that to say, it's looking like it's pretty likely I'm at least like top 5 in the world most affected by this. Maybe, to be generous, top 10, since, like I said, I didn't do very intense research, and it's very possible that this problem extends to people outside the niche community of hardcore grinders that I interact with, right? So, but yeah, this is going to affect me very, very hard. So, let's go ahead and dive into this list. I want to address the so before we actually go into the list, we have the 7073 here. I went and did something. I actually created a tag right here. I called it the 800 because it's like the 800 units that you know, are going to be destroyed here. But the reason why I created the tag is because it's going to be really easy for me to differentiate these units. Once that reverse tag, or that reverse, you know, page is gone, I'm not going to be able to go in there to reference what all these units are anymore. So in order to keep track of them, what I've done here is I've made a tag for them that we will basically keep forever. So the idea here at this point is after the update, we're going to go back through this box, and we're going to identify there's going to be different kinds of units in here. So while technically all 773 of these will be forcibly awakened, not all 773 of these will become a crap useless card that doesn't do anything for my account. So there are a few different like classifications of units that are going to end up in here after the update. We're going to have ones that okay, so we're gonna have like basically units that are duplicating the top copy. So we already have the top copy filled out, and then when this unit awakens, it's just gonna be an exact replica of the top copy of the unit. Let's see, what would be a good example of that? Maybe like how do you even spell her name? Why did I pick her of all units? I'm pretty sure I've got enough of her lineage filled. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so for instance, this unit right here is about to awaken into the Uneasy Aid TUR, but you can see I already have both copies of these sitting. So this is a unit of the worst detriment that we're going to get. If there's going to be a handful of units like this where once it awakens, I am strictly at a loss because the unit has already Easy Aid, and I already have, you know, both of the TUR awakened copies filled out, so that unit is just useless and there's nothing I can do with it to add to the lineage of the card. So it's just a complete L, and basically what we would do with this unit is we would keep it in this 800s box until we pull a copy to replace it, and then eventually refill out that one down here. At that point, then we would you know, then we would just remove it from the 800 box. So it would no longer be sitting in here as part of the 773. We would just get rid of it out of this tag, and it would just sit in our box. Obviously, we're not going to, like, Baba these cards. The idea is not to actually fully replace them and remove them from my account, because they do still provide me a lot of power level, and I have the box space to do so. So I'm going to be keeping all of these units. But at that point, we would just go ahead and remove them from the tag, knowing that unit does not need to be replaced. And then that's going to allow us to do a cool little countdown of keeping track of, you know, exactly how long it takes us to replace all 773 of these over time, right? So that's the first classification of unit. That is the one that's going to be the biggest bulk of these units here that we're going to see, and you know, that's gonna kind of be the end game grind there. So the thing is, there's going to be two types of those units, right? Because there are a bunch of those for summonable units, mainly like banner units and stuff that I've pulled a ton of over time. But then there's also every single free-to-play farmable unit in the game is going to be affected the same way, right? But at least those ones, that is going to be a pretty hefty chunk. About 250 of the units in here are going to be like that from free-to-play characters. But those ones are going to be much easier for me to shore up and redo because I'm going to just be able to free-to-play farm them. So it's going to be pretty quick to get them all back, rather than having to, like, summon them again over years or something. Okay, so then We have the next classification of unit would be a unit like Chilai here, where we only have the very top copy and the and the SSR. So basically that means that she's going to be providing the secondary Dokkan Awakened unit. So this is perfectly fine. While it does hurt, because technically for like my order of priorities, what I like to do is first you want to rainbow the very top copy of the unit, then you want to rainbow the SSR, because those are the two different artworks that the unit offers, right? Those are the two different characters that are here. And technically, the two different usable units on a team, because you could put both of these Chilais on the same team together, but you wouldn't be able to put both of these Chilais on the same team together because they have the exact same subheading name, right? So, it screws the order of operations just a little bit, but it's not a huge deal, because it's ultimately just a 1 in a slot here that's going to be moving to a 1 in a slot here. No harm, no foul. We still have 2 out of 4 slots filled for Chilai. So at that point, basically, this unit is immediately going to be removed from this list once the update happens, because it hasn't caused an issue and it hasn't taken anything away from us. It's just a 1-to-1 even transition, moving that unit up, right? So ultimately, I'm not going to consider that like an issue at all or a problem, because the idea is to eventually have a 1 in every single slot anyway. So we didn't lose any progress on the journey there for that unit. Okay, so then the next example, it's kind of the same as what we just talked about here, but it's also slightly different. Let's see. Maybe like this unit. They haven't easy made yet. Yeah, okay. So this is basically the exact same thing as Chilai, because this unit is going to awaken and then be the TUR here, but so we're not going to have the SSR copy anymore, so technically we're getting something taken away from us. However, this unit has not yet EZA'd. So when they get the EZA, that just means that this copy is now going to be reassigned up here, so we're just going to make that one the EZA copy when it EZAs, right? Or more likely, the one that's up here now will be the EZA copy, and then this one that will have awakened will just stay right here at the TUR level. So I haven't decided if I want to keep a unit like this in the tag until either, one, we pull another copy of them to be able to replace the SSR, or if we wait or wait until they EZA, and then that unit, those two units at the TUR level can split apart and then be in their own slots. So I haven't decided 100% how I'm gonna do anything with this. Most likely I'll end up keeping them, holding them inside the tag until one of those two conditions is met. I feel like that probably makes the most sense to do, just to make sure that it's been replaced. Because the thing is, once it moves up here, we know mathematically like it's guaranteed to replace at some point, because eventually this unit will EZA, so we don't really have to worry about that, but it is still a future release, so we should probably just hang on to it to keep track, I guess. But yeah, so that's the next iteration of unit. There is 2 more types that we're going to go over here, 2 more potential cases here. They're both going to be much more niche use cases. Basically, the 3 conditions that we just went over now, that's going to be like 95%, 99% even of the units in here. So the rest are going to be like this one. Let's see. Units like this. So there are a couple of units here where upon, filling them out, and I learned this just last night when I was going through my whole Dokkan Awaken tab to, verify that all my units were at the correct awakening levels. I discovered a couple of units like this. Now, we notice this guy cannot be awakened. Oh, wait, are they both? Oh, I just realized they're both in here. Okay, so they've both been reversed, is the problem. Oh, wow. Okay, so this doesn't even count as one of these kinds of units. Okay, so what I thought was happening with this unit originally was, because it awakens with this metal, that, you have a finite amount of them you can buy with green incredible gems, which I have long since sold out of, and now the only way I can buy them is with Ultimate Clash currency. So what I was thinking is that, oh, I didn't buy them with Ultimate Clash currency to awaken him yet, so he's actually just sitting at the SSR level. Which I was like, awesome, that means that one of them that's been reversed is going to awaken back here, and the other one will stay down there. So technically, the update is going to be fixing this lineage for me and not destroying it, right? Just because I had, like, an accidental foresight to not awaken one of the units, but it appears that's not the case with this unit. because we have awakened both. We're in the, yeah, because neither of them can't, like, I guess just to, like, really double verify. Oh, yeah, because we're in the, yeah, because we're in the reverse list right now, right? I guess if we go to character list, and then we can actually see, yeah, so we can't awaken, and we can't awaken, yeah, okay. But yeah, so I think there are like 1 or 2 other units like that. Just little random niche use cases. I honestly can't remember any of the other ones off the top of my head, but there are a couple of units like that that are actually going to be like fixed once, once the update goes through. Okay, and then the very last thing, which is the most tragic thing that we have to talk about, is the 3 units that will no longer be attainable. The 3 units in here that, if we were to leave them in here until replaced, they will stay in here forever. Because, essentially, there's no predictable way to get them again. So, the first of which is... Oh, shoot. I guess I... Oh, it's going to be a little weird to do this on the 800 thing. Maybe? What if we do it like this? Oh, gosh. Oh, it's because I'm going by acquired. Okay, hold on. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, so this unit right here. This is the SSR for version Z Goku. Unless you were someone that hung on to this unit when they, initially revamped the tutorial and you never awakened the original copy of the unit that they gave you, unless you're one of those players, which I don't even know if that player exists, then you will not be able to get this guy anymore, because he's going to be forcibly reawakened to what you had him at before, and he drops as a TUR, so the only way to get him is to actually actively reverse him down to this level. So I think that, yeah, this one's going to be unattainable. For me, mine was reversed down. This is not the original copy. So that one's going to be gone forever, and I am not going to be able to get that one back. Nor will any other players. Okay, another one that's really, kind of crappy here is this one. The Link State Physical Android 18. So this unit was only available like at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, something like that. And it was a login bonus card that was temporarily available to purchase with Zenny as well. And then it went away, and it has not since returned. So my TUR copy, or my UR copy, is going to go up to TUR, and then I just won't ever be able to fill in that slot again, which is a little bit unfortunate. Because I know that there are probably a lot of other players out there, these heavy collectors, that, not all of them have made ultimately what it is now is a mistake of awakening your characters for the extra links and then reversing them down, right? Some people have just straight up collected this lineage and left her at the unawakened form there, so they're still going to have access to this card. Now, this one is also not as big of a deal, just because I still will have this artwork here, right? So it's like the other one's going to be affecting, I think, literally every player on the planet that would have, had that card. And then this one, while it is going to be affecting me and not other players, still I could potentially put her as like my profile character or something, right? Because I have the artwork sitting here, and that one's not going to be affected, so that's not too terrible. But then the one case here that is like the absolute worst of all of them is this one right here. So I said we'd be getting back to this guy, and here we are back at him, literally at the very end of the video. This is kind of the last thing we're going to talk about here before we finish up. So yeah, this unit, he was available as a login bonus during 2018, and then he came back during the 10th anniversary. He was purchasable in a shop, and I went and got all these copies of him, opened up all the dupe paths. Dokkan awakened him, because I purchased all of these medals that you can get for him too. Dokkan awakened all of them, and then link leveled them and reversed them back down to get the extra links. So all of these units are about to be forcibly Dokkan awakened for me, and a unit that I had been waiting since 2019 or so to get extra copies of, because when they originally dropped him as a login bonus, they gave out 15 copies. So I've always had it in the back of my mind that I could have had the full lineage of this card a long time ago, and I just never did, because I didn't have the foresight at the time I received the card originally to like fill those things out. So I was so excited to get this card again during the 10th anniversary when they gave it out, that I could finally have the SSR here. Now, unfortunately, they dropped as a UR in that shop, so there was no way to even keep the unawakened SSR, which now is really unfortunate because all of my URs are about to be forcibly awakened, and I won't have that artwork at all. So that is a really big bummer, and I hope that, you know, because we've gone long enough and it seems like, you know, the dev team hasn't like looked at the backlash from the community and been like, okay, we need to step in and take action and like fix this. We need to make sure that this doesn't, you know, happen to players. It seems like at this point, the with how long ago the update was announced and how much players have been murmuring about it for weeks and weeks, and how Dokkan hasn't addressed or responded to any of it, I highly doubt that they are altering this. I'm pretty sure this is what's gonna this is the future of the game. There's no changing this. This is what's gonna happen. So I would at least hope then they rectify this by acknowledging these features and offering up something at some point in the future, right? As in, during the 11th anniversary, bring the Dokkan Chronicles back, allow that shop to open, and re-release these cards that were limited time purchases in that shop. Add the Android 18 link state, right? And then, like, put them at the SSR level and allow players to buy them at the SSR level. That's the other thing. The like redstone purchases and all of that stuff, I think it would be a good idea if Dokkan were to you know, like start putting those characters back the way they once were, because they do like to help players out by making them forcibly awakened already, so they're already in like the TUR state when you get them. Now this helped with a couple of things, right? One, if you were buying the unit fresh out and you hadn't attained that unit yet, now you wouldn't have to go and Dokkan Awaken them, which was really, really helpful for, like, new players who haven't created enough, you know, good characters in their box or anything to complete Dokkan events. That's, like, the most gruesome part of the game, is when you can't even clear a Dokkan event with the crappy units you have. So the brand new, like, headlining Dokkan fests that you're pulling with all of your free-to-play stones you're getting right up front, you can't even, like, use yet, because it's so, like, such a struggle to try and get like a team going, right? Which obviously nowadays with the Saiyan Saga free-to-play team that they make you grind in the tutorial, plus the free-to-play Rose team and stuff, it's not really that bad to start the game. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but so it definitely does help players with that. It also helps out a little bit with super attack leveling, or well, I guess you wouldn't be super attack leveling with a redstone character, but like dupe path filling, right? Because previously, you know, prior to when the update happens, you have to reverse your characters down in order to feed in, you know, a base copy, or you would have to go through the insanity of Dokkan Awakening the dupe, farming the metals to Dokkan Awaken the dupe, Dokkan Awaken it, and then feed it in, right? So at least with this case, now if you have a unit that's at the TUR level, you can grab them with the redstone. They're still at TUR level, so it won't forcibly reverse your character when you feed in the dupe, and then you won't have to like reverse them back or anything. So it is convenient that they've done that. But now that they're getting rid of the reverse system, and you're not gonna have to reverse your units, you know, to feed in dupes anyway, now I don't really see a reason why they should give them to you Dokkan Awakened, right? I mean, I guess it's still for those new players, like I said, the people that are getting that character for the first time just won't have to farm the Dokkan Awakening for it, so I guess. But it really, really just does hurt players that are longtime collectors like this. Because here's the thing. There's a lot of those units that just aren't available on banners anymore. So people that have been collecting them for years and years and years just aren't going to be able to get those back that easily. I guess, like, we could go to some, like, ancient Dokkan fests. Like, what's, maybe, like, Broly? Like, physical Broly? Yeah, like this guy right here. When's the last time he's been on a banner? And if they drop him in the shop, like, here's the fear, right? Based on the graphics that they showed when the update goes through, it looks like if your unit that you're feeding in is at the SSR level, you have a 50% chance to feed in, if it's the same name. Regardless of what the feed-in rarity is. There's no longer an effect there, it seems. So even if you're feeding into a rare, if you're feeding into an LR, it doesn't matter. If your unit is an SSR, it has a 50% chance. That's what it seems like the update's going to be. We don't 100% know yet. And then if it's at UR, you have a 100% chance. So I think it would make sense or be likely that even if they do away with the TUR give outs in the, you know, in the like Redstone Shop, they're still probably going to be giving out URs, because this would mean that you have a 100% chance to raise a super attack level, right? Like, so I don't know. I think it's unlikely that they do make that change and revert back to SSRs that they give out, but what I'm saying here is that that's going to be a huge problem if they don't, right? Just because then it's going to be impossible for players to collect the SSRs of these cards, which is really shitty for players that have already done so. So yeah, that's basically the point that I'm making there. So hopefully we will see some good quality of life changes, you know, coming forth in the future beyond this update. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to highlight this for you guys, show you that this is kind of my plan of attack at this point, is going to be replacing all these units. Let me go first, just show my whole box. So yeah, you can see I have like 700 box space left. Oh, this is... It's actually more. I do have like 1,000. I've just been pre-farming these guys. I've got a link level strat coming up. I'm gonna make an individual video all about it, just talking about this link level strat that I have, you know, that I am preparing to embark on. But yeah, so that's another chunk of units. Those ones are all going to be fed into each other with like SA10 and dupe paths and stuff. So those won't be, you know, nearly as in the way. But we've got about 1,000 extra box space right now. From unused characters and stuff, so it is going to be pretty easy for me to replace all of those 700 units, right? And like I said, a lot of them are probably not going to... they're still going to be like usable dupes of the card, because I wouldn't have had their full lineages filled out. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be more like 500 or so, and then again, half of those are going to be free to play. So it's really only going to be a big bulk of about like 250 units that we're going to be chasing for a long time. And I think it's only going to be about 500 additional units added to my box. So there still will be another like 500 odd character slots that I can freely link level with whatever units I want, and that's where these guys come in, right? Won't get any further to talking about the strat there. I've already mentioned it multiple times in a couple of the videos previously this week, and I do plan on making an individual video, you know, focused specifically on that link level strategy. So we'll go ahead and leave it here, but yeah, that's kind of what the plan is looking like. That's what the future of my account looks like. So let me know what your guys' plan is for your, you know, units that were once reversed and are now forcibly awakened. Let me know what that means for your account, what kind of things you're planning on recollecting, or if you're planning on recollecting at all. Yeah, I would love to hear all that kind of stuff. All right, well, that's going to go ahead and do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for sticking with me, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.